I don't see him. He's the one that actually got this working. Sebastian, are you in here?
Yeah.
Oh, there he's right there, front row. He actually got this working.
Yeah, show me too, because I have the same problem as Jim did, but later.
Yeah. So I'll update the wiki
Okay, thanks, Jim.
as well. So I was tweeting one-handed while I. Now, how many of you here know what aspect-oriented programming is?
Thanks for your time.
The people that were in my session. Okay. So really quick, I'm just going to blast through this really quick. Is it showing up there? Okay. So aspect-oriented programming is a new paradigm. It's to object-oriented programming what object-oriented programming was to procedural programming. Okay. So if any of you are around for procedural programming when object-oriented programming were coming out, how these protests, oh, I can do this already, this doesn't get it, it makes it harder to debug. Okay, some of it's true, some of it's not true, but we're going to go with it. So what the idea of aspect-oriented programming is to separate your cross-cutting concerns, all right? So it's super encapsulation. So a cross-cutting concern, or a concern is a cohesive area of functionality. Here's all your concerns you might have. Now your business logic is what your customers want, right? But we spend all of our time writing database access, exception handling, stuff like that. So all of our code is filled up with these secondary concerns. So a cross-cutting concern is when these secondary concerns are mixed in with other concerns. Quick example, bank transfer. This is what your customer wants, right? If there's money there, move the money across. That's all they want. But they say, oh, you know what? I need to make sure I have security to do this. So you add security. And they say, oh, you know, we're going to log this because we have to be able to audit this later. So you add logging. And they say, oh, we got to add a transaction because, if we don't want to take the money out and not put the money in. And say, oh, well, we got to thread this because the database is really slow, and so we got to put this in a thread and lock this other thing. And then whatever else came up, the new buzzword, you got to add that as well. So if you take all that into code, we can use it all, do it all through aspects by just moving up here at the top. Okay. Really quick overview of aspect-oriented programming. All right. So what you have to do, if you want to do this now, we're actually looking at code, is let's see. Okay. So the way Cirrus works, Cirrus is aspect-oriented programming framework for Prism, is you make an assembly that gets ran at compile time. Okay, so you make an assembly that, skip that one there, this one here. This class here, log2 method attribute, is going to add logging to a program. So we have a program here that doesn't do anything. It just says test, hello world. Okay, and we create this aspect, and we tell it we want to. We tell this aspect that we want to handle implementation. If we go down here to this, and what it does, it looks at the method name. So this assembly, this is a separate assembly, is going to run. The compiler is going to run this against your code. All right. It's going to look at the method name and say, is this method name log message? Because that's we're adding this method, so we don't want to log the calls to log method. And if it's not the constructor, then we're going to do this. So if you look at this here, this is an anonymous method here, right? So it's going to take the method and it's going to change the body of the method. Okay? It's going to add a call to log message, and then here it's going to call the original body, the old body, and then it's going to call log message again. This is going to say entering, this is going to say exiting. And it's passing the method name, and we'll fall in here, and the parameters. Okay? So here you can see I have two different assemblies. This is the one that's going to show. This is just as a hello world, and this is the assembly that has the aspects in it. All right, so now I run this. Actually, I'll run this without the aspect first. Of course, I have dpack installed, so when I hit F9, it runs it. Okay, hello world. So this is what happens without the aspect on it. So then as soon as I put this aspect on it, which is that on the line right here, is telling it aspect. And so this code is now going to run my other assembly at compile time and inject those lines into my new assembly. Okay, so it says entering main, hello world, entering test, and input for test, and it shows this is line test showed, and it shows exiting test. And it hasn't showed exiting main because we're still in the main block where I put the read key in. So I hit the space bar. So now, just in case you're not sure, you don't believe me here, I'm going to use .NET Reflector. And I'm going to go in here and look at this if I compile this. So I'm going to compile it without the log method on there. And so if we go in here and look at so if you use .NET Reflector, you can just say Chrome, and it'll show you essentially Prism code. They actually still have Delphi for .NET support in here as well, which is a slightly different variation. Oh, this is still got in there. Let me reload this.
You didn't recompile it.
I hit recompile, but I think I need to reload this. I'll recompile it to just make sure. Okay, so here's the original, right? Just the code I wrote's in there. So now if I close this, recompile with the aspect turned on. Compile succeeded. I can add it. So you can see it actually injected this code, the log message, the try, finally, and log message, into the assembly. So this is injected at compile time. So it kind of is interesting because if you have something's wrong with it, you get errors in weird places. But when it's working right, it's real powerful. You know, you look at the example I gave of what you can do with this. This is a great way of taking all that transactions and security and stuff like that out of the being mixed in with your business logic and putting it in aspects. Does that make sense to everybody? Pretty cool stuff. And the fact you're running at compile time is pretty interesting to think about it. So there you go. That's what I got.
Yeah.